Hey guys, Desoto Gaming here, and I'm going to teach you how to beat yet another slot machine. Now, when you think of Advantage Play slots, you either think Scarab or you think this one. This game came out about 5 years ago, and it is now the poster boy for walk up and check AP states. But there are still some people who don't know about it. This doesn't really look like an Advantage Play machine, unless you just already know it by name or have played it once. So this does have two different ways to play it. Weirdly enough, there doesn't appear to be a single photo of the betting little button bar thing, like the flat part, anywhere on the entire internet, and they just took this out a while ago at my local casino, so I can't go take a picture. But basically, it looks like Ocean Magic, aka Honk Bubbles, where I believe you can bet like 50 cents for just 50 cents, or you could pay double, I believe it's $1, for the Persistent Wild Portal lock feature. Take a guess which one you'll want to look at. Okay, if you're absolutely new to this, it's the one with the persistent state that persists between spins. So ignore the half bet, only go with the full feature bet. And you can walk up and just go donk, 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 donk up the bet amount. And in some cases, you can change it off of a penny to a higher denom. That would, of course, be in the bottom right corner, just like most IGT machines. So it lands these little portals, and they stick around until they all turn into wilds. You want as many touching as possible, and preferably on the left side because the machine only pays left to right. So once there's, I believe, at least one in play, she will start launching little meteors or fireballs or whatever randomly. And it's pretty often, so you just have to wait until it lands in a spot that collides with at least one other wild. So what it will do then is expand it by one location, so a single one will turn into a 9x9 grid, and then everything else touching that also turns into a wild. So it can detonate, as I call it, on a bad setup. However, it tends to be, I wouldn't say a near blackout, that's a little generous, but I've seen it, but a pretty good amount of connectors. So if somebody drove up the count to a sufficient level where the average number of connecting lines with the average symbol will be higher than the chance of going off, then it's in your favor. So the question is, all things considered, how many do you need? Well, if you watch 1 to 10,000 spins, you already have an answer, because you can just average it. But if you want the quick reference guides, all in little downloadable JPEGs, I'm working on a PDF too, like an indexed one with a search function. All of that's going to be on my Patreon, link in the description and the comment section. Got some really good resources on there. I answer a bunch of questions about other AP machines. We got like a chat going on. It's pretty darn cool for the price, and I guess I can't legally say I guarantee you'll make money off of it, but mathematically, there is a common result or outcome if you do this correctly. Anyway, pretty simple. It pays left to right, so ones in 4 and 5 are not as valuable. Stop me if you've heard that one before. However, a full blackout or a 5 of a kind pays pretty good on this machine. So don't completely ignore 4 and 5 like you do on Honk Bubbles. But they are high risk, high reward, and just because you walked up and these numbers are on the machine doesn't mean you can't wait for a better state or just walk past it if the bet's too high. As I always say, you're probably not going to get rich on 105% return to player. You can always say, that's too close, I'm playing tight today, I'm going to play a better state. Anyway, what you want to look for is persistent portals with 3 anywhere in region 1, although I'm going to circle back to that. 5 total in region 1 plus 2, because then you're stretching a little bit. It might not connect, which means you could get paid 0 or close to it. And then 7 total in play in all of the regions 1, 2, and 3 combined. So in other words, it would be like 1 or 2 in region 1, and then 5 of them in 2 and 3. Or perhaps 6. So like if that were to go off the correct way, you're going to link up. Now it's pretty obvious to tell, okay, well, a whole bunch of them are in 2, and then they're on the right side of 1. And then remember, they blow up into a 9x9. Now, because they blow up into a 9x9, what if they're touching the edges and they don't? So if they're in the corners, they're a lot less valuable. While watching probably not enough spins, but welcome to this channel, I confirmed that it does matter, but not enough to throw these numbers off. So if you have 3 in region 1, you're good no matter where they are. However, for this setup right here, what kind of value are you getting in the top left? It's basically 0 spots, because the next one under it is going to go to the right 3, and it's going to go up 1 and down 1, so it might as well not even be there. Personally, I wouldn't consider this to be 3. So fully redundant corners should not count for this, but in my testing, it came up so infrequently that I couldn't really make a conclusion. But my gut feeling is, okay, it's redundant if it hits the one below it, but it's another target for it to go off and they're touching. So while you wouldn't really get anything out of the expansion, the fireball could hit that spot. And that's really important because you're paying for every single bet. So the earlier it can go off, the better within reason. I mean, you could see it build up, but at a certain point, adding additional portals doesn't really help you that much because the expansion is already going to happen. Now, I should once again point out, it only expands on the one that was hit. And in my experience, it really likes to target edges and corners. I feel like that might be part of the return to player calculation, where if you said, oh, I want the one with the 92% RTP, I want the one with the 88% RTP, I'm just making numbers up, they might just change the fireball targeting, and that's it, instead of the symbols. And that would lower the average pay by making all of the, I would say bonuses, but all of the fireball hit features better. It actually does have a bonus, I should mention that. You could just get 10 free games and you win a bunch of money. I've only hit it once. So while you're playing, you got this little mini jackpot kind of hovering in the background that might show up at any time. That's kind of cool. So would I play 3 pin to the left? It's a guaranteed 3 of a kind. Depending upon the symbol, you might get your money back, but it's scraping so close to like 101 to 105, 110% return to player. I don't like it. So you could kind of mentally value corners less, especially at a really high bet, because then you're risking more money. Now, what if we saw this setup with only 2? If it hits the left one, it expands to a 3x3. That's a 9 square grid, guaranteed 4 of a kind. If it hits the right one, remember that left one isn't going to expand. It will just be included because it will expand to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 only because it's on the edge. And then it will just turn that other one into 1 single wild because it's touching. So a little bit lower, but still reaching into the 4th column. That's still a partial guaranteed 4 of a kind, possibly 5 of a kind depending upon symbols. That's pretty good. However, only having 2 spots to be a target for the fireball is not good. Now, is the fireball random? Like if you're covering 10% of the spots and a fireball throws down, do you have a 1 in 10 shot? I don't think so. I think it's a little bit actually above that. So I think it just decides, is it going to go off or not? It does take into account the number that are in play. And then I think it once again aims based on the RTP. Because if it hits a corner, it's going to be less good. If it hits the center, it's going to be more good. So I think they kind of weight it from there. But I do think it scales up a little bit where it's more likely to hit based on the number, but I think it pads it on the low end and kind of penalizes it on the high end just to even it out a little bit. So in other words, it's not a true odds bingo card for lack of a better comparison. So the placement is important, but the number of spots is also important. But Region 2 and Region 3 are a dead zone. I have seen people play it with like 7 stacked up right there, nothing in Region 1 at all, and then the fireball hits and it doesn't give you same symbols. Nothing connects, you just lost all of your money and won nothing. That is bad. That is the one to watch out for, is a right heavy one. That's why the whole, it's 7, in all the regions. If none of them are in Region 1, you might want to watch out. Now, it does take a while to go off. I mean, I've seen 10, 15, 20 spins in some cases, and it really starts stacking. So if you just need a tiny improvement and then it's effectively a guaranteed 5 of a kind or wild blackout, well, there you go. So it's high risk, high reward on the conditions that include the 5 and the 7. Just thought I'd warn you about it so you know what you're getting into. Instead of just, here's the numbers, good luck, and then not telling you anything about the machines. I hate it when people do that. So if you appreciate the good free information in these videos, well, we got a whole playlist of how to beat casinos, so go check it out, obviously. Subscribe, because you don't want to lose this channel. You're going to reference it in the future, trust me. And like I said, for a couple bucks, if you want all of my quick reference guides that you can download all in one place, it's on Patreon, dirt cheap. And they did a pretty bad job blurring them out, so if you just want a blurry version where you could still read it, just go over there and sign up for free. Yes, I'm aware of it. No, I don't really care. I'm giving out the information for free on YouTube. Why would I possibly care? If you want to pay a couple bucks for a premium version of all my information, go for it. Otherwise, it's just a tip jar over there. If you like what I do and you're like, hey, you made me a couple $100, cool. But if I absolutely demanded a commission from all people, then I would not have a free YouTube channel giving this away for free, would I? Hey, we're all in this together against the casinos. So thanks for watching, everybody. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.